Thank you for listening to Sassy Optimist with Cindy Chapin. Don't know what time of day it is, but here it is morning, and I am such a morning person. I absolutely enjoy mornings. I need to relook at my birth certificate, but I believe I was born in the morning. Anyway, today I just felt led yesterday or the day before. I've actually done quite a few intense workouts over the last few weeks. I've really been kind of kicking it up, and I mentioned before that I joined Orange Theory, which I love, love, love. On Saturday, I'm going to be doing my first 90-minute class. The format is typically 60 minutes, very intense resistance training, cardio training, lots of rowing. You're on the treadmill, lots of coaching, lots of words of affirmation, which is my love language, so it's perfect for me. But it's a 90-minute class. So I figured, well, you know what, might as well. I'm getting ready to travel quite a bit starting Sunday, I will be leaving and be traveling quite a bit over the next, month and a half to 2 months. So it's going to be good. I'm going to work out on the road too. I don't know why I'm sharing all this with you. Not that you really care, but maybe you do. But anyway, part of the reason I'm sharing all of this about the workout is something kind of gross, but I realized the other day that I really stunk. I was actually outside in the neighborhood here. We have a house up in the North Georgia mountains, and there are some pretty steep hills, actually quite a few of them. It's a 4-mile walk that I do. I do it at a pretty brisk pace. I do not jog or run on this one. But there's some really intense hills, and I hit all of them in the 4 miles, which is amazing. And I was very sweaty. It was humid out. It was pretty early, but I was like, why am I smelling onions? I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. I couldn't blame it on anybody else. It's not like when I'm at the gym and I could think of it being the guy next to me. It was me, which then made me realize that lately I've been eating a lot of onions, which I love onions and peppers, and they're so good for you. But when you sweat, what's in you, the odor will come out, which made me also think about the only way you can do something or say something is if it's in you, whether it's in your brain, it's in your heart. And I've done this myself where I'll do something, say something, and I go, oh, I didn't really mean it. Well, oh, I don't know where that came from. And I'm like, yes, you do. You know what? It had to come from somewhere. Sometimes we may not know necessarily, but it had to come from somewhere. So my mission is to kind of figure out, where does that stem from? Just like the whole thing with me being a little snippy and short lately with people, and my tolerance really dropping, which is typically not me. Where is that stemming from? So, just like me, when I was sweating and I smelled like a big old icky onion, it's because I've ate a lot of onions. So that's why my perspiration smelled that way. And so it really just reminds me that we have to be very aware of when we do something, when we say something, or when we even think something, that it came from somewhere. And if it's not a positive thing, then I need to figure out why. And also, too, don't make excuses. Just, get to the root of the problem and figure out why it's going on. Which also reminds me that it's so important that we're aware of our environment. So whether it's for something, just a silly example. So if you go to let's say a restaurant, I forget what it's called, where they have the hot grill in front of you and you sit around it and they cook all the food and they light an onion on fire. Hibachi? This is terrible. Good thing I'm not a chef. But whatever that place is, when you only wear or take things in there that are going to absolutely reek, it's because of the environment. Maybe I never ate an onion or a pepper, but I'm going to smell like an onion or a pepper just because I was around it. So it's the same thing with our environment. Now, sometimes we can't control it. So we might be working with somebody who's very toxic, and but what I'm learning to, and I'm doing better at this, is limiting my exposure to these people, because we all have them. And unfortunately, sometimes I'm that toxic person. Sometimes I'm the one that is being very unprofessional or doing or saying things I shouldn't be. So I'm definitely not casting stones at the glass house here, but some people are just naturally wired to be a little bit more pessimistic, or somebody who's very much out for themselves, or looking, and they're going to stab you in the back. They act like you're your friend. They're very two-faced. So what I'm doing is I'm learning to limit my exposure to these people and say no to my time, outside of when I can control it. Obviously during the day or at a meeting, I can't control it necessarily, but after that, I can definitely control it. Also, too, just the TV or, the music we listen to, everything. Even just, I'm not being a prude or anything, but when I'm watching a show, I love comedy. It's just so funny. I think, life is so serious. I definitely am not sticking my head in the sand and not watching the news and paying attention to what's going on, because I don't think that is good. We need to be aware of our environment. We need to be aware of what is going on. But, after you hear the information a couple times and hey, this is what's going on right now, with, the politics or whatever, be aware of it, then turn it off. Stop watching it, because you don't need to watch it over and over and over and over and over, or multiple channels. Just watch it just enough to be aware of it. This is my approach. And then I listen to podcasts. I read books. I watch a movie that is, inspiring. There's a movie that's coming out here. I think it's coming out on Thursday, which I don't even know what the date is. Oh, today is August 21st. Wednesday, August 21st. So I think it comes out tomorrow. It's called Overcomers. I'm definitely going to watch that movie because it's just a very inspirational movie. We went to the theater the other day, and The Art of Racing in the Rain, super inspiring, amazing, feel-good movie, had a good message in it. Those are the types of movies I like to watch. I do like to watch anything that's really around football or sports. I think it's just really inspiring, kind of like Rocky Balboa, all of his movies. I've watched all of them just because it's very inspirational. But if a movie, there's a lot of comedians out there, actors and actresses, that I really enjoy their humor. But unfortunately, in my opinion, they ruin them by using a lot of profanity, like every third word. If it's every once in a while, I'm like, okay, I don't like it, but I can take it. But when they do that, I will stop watching a movie. And I used to not do that. I used to be concerned that somebody might think, oh, you're being a prude. I'm like, you know what? Now at this point, I'm the one that's in control of what I'm exposing myself to, what I'm putting in my head. Because if I continue to expose myself to, let's say, the F word. Look at me, I do sound like such a prude, but that's okay. Everybody knows what the F word is. If I heard the F word over and over and over and over and over repeatedly, at some point, I'm going to use that word and not even be aware of it, just with anything. So that's what my goal is, to do that. So I encourage you just to be aware of your environment, because the only way something can come out of you is if it's in you. So let's control what we put in ourselves, whether it's actions, behaviors, words, food smells. Sometimes we can't control that. Just anything. So I'm trying to fill myself. I just think of myself as a vessel, which I am. I am a vessel, and there's only so much room for things to be put inside of me, and I want to do as much as I can to put positive, good things inside of me. So I encourage you to do the same. So thank you for listening to Sassy Optimist with Cindy Chapin.